I'm honored to have you here, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Timothy D. Snyder. Timothy David Snyder, born August 18, 1969, is an American historian specializing in the history of Central and Eastern Europe, the Soviet Union, and the Holocaust. He is the Richard Celsius Levin Professor of History at Yale University and a permanent fellow at the Institute for Human Sciences in Vienna. He has written several books, including Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin and On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, The Road to Unfreedom, and Our Malady. Several of them have been described as bestsellers. Snyder serves on the Committee on Conscience of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. He is also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into early life and education and unraveling its profound impact. Snyder was born on August 18, 1969, in the Dayton, Ohio area, the son of Christine Hadley Snyder, a teacher, accountant, and homemaker, and Ethel Eugene Snyder, a veterinarian. Snyder's parents were married in a Quaker ceremony in 1963 in Ohio, and his mother was active in preserving her family farmstead as a Quaker historic site. Snyder was graduated from Centerville High School. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree in History and Political Science from Brown University and his Doctor of Philosophy degree in Modern History in 1995 at the University of Oxford while under the supervision of Timothy Garton Ash and Jerzy Jedlicki. He was a Marshall Scholar at Balliol College, Oxford, from 1991 to 1994. As we progress through this video, let's now turn our gaze towards career. Snyder has held fellowships at the French National Centre for Scientific Research in Paris from 1994 to 1995, the Institut für die Wissenschaften der Menschen in Vienna in 1996, the Alwyn Institute for Strategic Studies at Harvard University in 1997, and was an Academy Scholar at the Weatherhead Center for International Affairs at Harvard University from 1998 to 2001. He has been an instructor at the College of Europe Natterland campus, the Baron Welge Chair at the Université Libre de Bruxelles, the Teveringa Chair at the Leiden University, Philippe Romain Chair at the London School of Economics, and the 2013 Rin Gerard Lecturer at Stanford University. Prior to assuming the Richard Celsius Levin Professorship of History, Snyder was the Byrd Whitehausen Professor of History at Yale University. He is a member of the Committee on Conscience of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. On September 25, 2020, he was named as one of the 25 members of the Real Facebook Oversight Board, an independent group monitoring Facebook. He serves on the editorial boards of the Journal of Modern European History and East European Politics and Societies. For the academic year, he held the Philippe Roman Chair of International History at the London School of Economics and Political Science. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on works in the upcoming portion of this video. Snyder has written 15 books and co-edited 2. Snyder speaks 5 European languages and reads 10, enabling easier use of primary and archival sources in Germany and Central Europe during his research. Snyder has stressed that in order to engage in such transnational history, knowing other languages is very important, saying if you don't know Russian, you don't really know what you're missing. Let's now shift our focus to early works and explore the ways in which it shapes our perspective. Snyder's first book was the 1998 Nationalism, Marxism, and Modern Central Europe, a biography of Kazimierz Kels-Krauss. It is a study in nationalism through the analysis of the life of Polish thinker Kazimierz Kels-Krauss. In 2003, he published The Reconstruction of Nations, Poland, Ukraine, Lithuania, Belarus, 1569–1999. It focuses on the last few hundred years of history of several Central and Eastern European countries. In 2005, he published Sketches from a Secret War, a Polish artist's mission to liberate Soviet Ukraine. That book is a study on the interwar history of the Second Polish Republic and Soviet Ukraine through the prism of the life of Henryk Rzewski. In 2008, he published The Red Prince: The Secret Lives of a Habsburg Archduke. The book is an analysis of the life of Wilhelm von Habsburg. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of Bloodlands and explore its various aspects. In 2010, Snyder published Bloodlands: Europe Between Hitler and Stalin. Bloodlands was a bestseller and has been translated into 30 languages. In an interview with Slovene historian Luka Gabrieli in 2016, Snyder described the book as an attempt to overcome the limitations of national history in explaining the political crimes perpetrated in Eastern Europe in the years and years. The point of Bloodlands was that we hadn't noticed a major event in European history, the fact 13 million civilians were murdered for political reasons in a rather confined space over a short period of time. The question of the book was how this could have happened. We have some history of Soviet terror, of the Holocaust, of the Ukrainian famine, of the German reprisals against the civilians. But all of these crimes happened in the same places in a short time span, so why not treat them as a single event and see if they can be unified under a meaningful narrative? Bloodlands received reviews ranging from highly critical to rapturous. In assessing these reviews, Jock Smelin described it as one of those books that changed the way we look at a period in history. Smelin noted that some historians have criticized the chronological construction of events, the arbitrary geographical delimitation, Snyder's numbers on victims and violence, and a lack of focus on interactions between different actors. Omar Bartov wrote that the book presents no new evidence and makes no new arguments. And in a highly critical review, Richard Evans wrote that, because of its lack of causal argument, Snyder's book is of no use, and that Snyder hasn't really mastered the voluminous literature on Hitler's Germany, which leads him into error in a number of places regarding the politics of Nazi Germany. On the other hand, Wendy Lower wrote that it was a masterful synthesis, John Connolly called it morally informed scholarship of the highest caliber, and Christopher Browning described it as stunning. The journal Contemporary European History published a special forum on the book in 2012, featuring reviews by Mark Moser, Dan Diner, Thomas Kuhn, and Jörg Babrovsky, as well as an introduction and response by Snyder. In this section, we'll be shedding light on later works and its impact on our understanding of the subject. Snyder's 2012 book Thinking the 20th Century was co-authored with Tony Judt while Judt was in the late stages of ALS disease. The book is based primarily on material by Judt, edited by Snyder. It presents Judt's view on the history of the 20th century. Snyder published Black Earth: The Holocaust as History and Warning in 2015. The book, offering a radically new explanation of the Holocaust, received mixed reviews. In 2017, he published On Tyranny: 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, a short book about how to prevent a democracy from becoming a tyranny, with a focus on modern United States politics and on what he called America's turn towards authoritarianism. The book topped the New York Times bestseller list for paperback nonfiction in 2017 and remained on bestseller lists as late as 2021. On Tyranny has been featured in a rap song and in poster exhibitions. In 2018, he published The Road to Unfreedom: Russia, Europe, America. That book explores Russian attempts to influence Western democracies and the influence of philosopher Ivan Ilyin on Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation in general. In 2020, he published a book on the American healthcare system, Our Malady. Snyder has published essays in publications such as the International Herald Tribune, The Nation, Foreign Affairs, New York Review of Books, The New York Times, The Times Literary Supplement, The New Republic, Eurozine, Tygodnik Powszechny, The Chicago Tribune, and The Christian Science Monitor. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on views in the upcoming portion of this video. Although primarily a scholar of 20th century Eastern European history, in the mid as Snyder became interested in US history, contemporary politics, international relations, digital politics, health, and education. He has said that the defunding of departments of history and the humanities since the supposed post-Soviet end of history have led to a society without the concepts and references or structural tools to discuss eroding factors such as modern forms of populism. In interviews with The Guardian for the article Putin, Trump, Ukraine, How Timothy Snyder Became the Leading Interpreter of Our Dark Times, Snyder described history as a constant, exciting discovery of things that actually happened, which weren't anticipated and which were probably considered wildly improbable at the time. And once you know that, then you can have the intuition that, well, maybe in this moment right now there's something happening which people aren't seeing. Drawing on the lessons of European history, in January 2021, Snyder introduced the terms big lie and memory laws into the American political discussion. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting views on Putin's Russia to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. Since Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine and the bombing of its energy infrastructure, Snyder has spoken and written widely on the history of Ukraine and its worldwide importance for democracy, on the disastrous geopolitical effects of the invasion, and on the need for other nations and individuals to stand for the protection of territory belonging to that state. Snyder has said the fact that we have democracies at all is kind of remarkable, that democracy means that the people have to rule, and they have to want to rule, warning against reliance on larger historical forces to bring democracy about. Snyder launched crowdfunding to upgrade Ukraine's air defense. According to Snyder, the only way to end the war is for Putin's Russia to win by losing, because only if Ukraine wins will it be possible for the dictator to leave the scene, and for the country to start a democratic process that will benefit Russia itself. Snyder is on the list of 200 Americans barred from entering Russian territory, under sanctions announced by the Russian government in November 2022. In 2015, Snyder delivered a series of lectures in Kyiv, Dnipro, and Kharkiv. The lectures, which were delivered in Ukrainian, were open to the public and focused on Snyder's historical research as well as the contemporary political situation in Ukraine. In The Road to Unfreedom, Snyder argues that Vladimir Putin's government in Russia is authoritarian, and that it uses fascist ideas in its rhetoric. In December 2018, during a discussion with a fellow historian of Eastern Europe, John Connolly, Snyder referred to this as schizofascism. Snyder has drawn the parallel between Hitler's rationale for territorial expansion and that of Putin. He predicted Russia's invasion of Crimea, outlining specific threats of an invasion in the New York Times op-ed Don't Let Putin Grab Ukraine on February 3, 2014, and said that Putin's rhetoric resembles Hitler's to the point of plagiarism. Both claimed that a neighboring democracy was somehow tyrannical. Both appealed to imaginary violations of minority rights as a reason to invade. Both argued that a neighboring nation did not really exist and that its state was illegitimate. Marlon Laurel commented that contrary to claims, the Kremlin does not live in an ideological world inspired by Nazi Germany, but in one in which the Yalta decades, the Gorbachev-Yeltsin years, and the collapse of the Soviet Union still constitute the main historical reference and traumas. On March 14, 2023, Snyder briefed the United Nations Security Council in a meeting called by Russia to address Russophobia. Snyder said that the term Russophobia was used by Russia to justify its war crimes in Ukraine, and that harm done to Russians and Russian culture is primarily due to Moscow's own policies and actions, which resulted in driving Russian emigration following the invasion, suppression of independent media, attacks on cultural assets and landmarks, and mass killings of Russian speakers and citizens. After he was challenged by the Russian representative Vasilin Benzia for sources, Snyder referred to Putin's statements denying the existence of Ukraine. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting views on Ukraine and exploring its intricate connections to our topic. Snyder has written 6 books on Ukraine, and in 2022, to explain the origins and course of the Russo-Ukrainian War, he made his Yale lecture series The Making of Modern Ukraine available to the general public on YouTube and as a podcast series along with the syllabus and reading list. The course had been viewed by millions by November 2022. He has spoken and written about the war in the press, and he publishes history and commentary on his Substack platform as Thinking About. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards views on the Trump presidency and uncover its hidden depths. Asked in early 2017 how the agenda of the Trump administration compared with Adolf Hitler's rise to power, Snyder said that history does not repeat, but it does offer us examples and patterns, and thereby enlarges our imaginations and creates more possibilities for anticipation and resistance. In a May 2017 interview with Salon, he warned that the Trump administration would attempt to subvert democracy by declaring a state of emergency and take full control of the government. Similar to Hitler's Reichstag fire, it's pretty much inevitable that they will try. He repeated the warning in Commonweal on November 2, 2020. The plan is not to win the popular or even the electoral vote, but rather to stay in power some other way. According to Snyder, Trump's campaign for President of the United States was basically a Russian operation. Snyder also warned that Trump's lies would lead to tyranny. In January 2021, Snyder published an essay in the New York Times on the future of the GOP in response to the siege of the United States Capitol, blaming Trump and his enablers, Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, for the insurrection fueled by their claims of election fraud, writing that the breakers have an even stronger reason to see Trump disappear. It is impossible to inherit from someone who is still around. Seizing Trump's big lie might appear to be a gesture of support. In fact, it expresses a wish for his political death. Now, let's shift our focus to personal life and embark on an intellectual exploration of its various dimensions. In 2005, Snyder married Marcy Shaw, a professor of European cultural and intellectual history at Yale University. The couple have 2 children together. In December 2019, he fell seriously ill following a series of medical misdiagnoses. While recuperating through the coronavirus pandemic, he wrote Our Malady, Lessons in Liberty from a Hospital Diary, about the problems of the for-profit healthcare system in the USA and the coronavirus response so far. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on charity. On November 2, 2022, Timothy Snyder became the 10th ambassador of UNIT. He has set up a fundraiser to collect donations for a system to counter Russian unmanned aerial vehicles in Ukraine, and thereby to protect Ukraine's critical infrastructure. He also launched the Documenting Ukraine project to support journalists, scholars, artists, public intellectuals, and archivists based in Ukraine in their efforts to create a factual record of the war. Now, let's shift our attention to awards. 2023 The Robert B. Silvers Prize for Journalism, Silvers Dudley Prize 2022 All-European Academy's Madame de Staël Prize 2017 Prize of the Foundation for Polish Science, the highest scientific honor in Poland 2015 The VIZE 97 Prize from the Pavel Foundation 2015 Carnegie Fellowship 2014 Antonovic Prize 2013 Hannah Arendt Prize for Political Thought for Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin Basic Books, 2010-2012 Prekind International Literary Award for the Truth About Holocaust and Stalinist Repression Honorary Mention for Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin Basic Books, 2010-2012 Kazimierz Moczarski Historic Award for Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin 2012 Leipzig Book Award for European Understanding 2012 Literature Award from the American Academy of Arts and Letters 2011 Ralph Waldo Emerson Award by the Phi Beta Kappa Society 2003 George Louis Baer Prize for the Reconstruction of Nations, Poland, Ukraine, Lithuania, Belarus, 1998 The Oskar Halecki Polish History Award from the Polish Institute of Arts and Sciences in America Lithuanian Diplomacy Star Polish Benemerito Honorary Badge Officers Cross of the Order of Merit of the Republic of Poland Estonian Order of the Cross of Terra Mariana Class III Honorary Doctor at the Faculty of Humanities, Lund University. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of selected works and their profound significance. Nationalism, Marxism, and Modern Central Europe, A Biography of Kazimierz Kraus, Harvard University Press, 1998. War Around the West, State Power and Immigration Controls in Europe and North America, Rauman and Littlefield, 2000. Co-edited with Peter Andreas. The Reconstruction of Nations, Poland, Ukraine, Lithuania, Belarus, 1569-1999, Yale University Press, 2003. Sketches from a Secret War, a Polish artist's mission to liberate Soviet Ukraine, Yale University Press, 2005. The Red Prince, The Secret Lives of a Habsburg Archduke, Basic Books, 2008. Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin, Basic Books, 2010. Thinking the 20th Century with Tony Judt. Penguin, 2012. Stalin and Europe, Imitation and Domination, 1928-1953, Oxford University Press, 2014. Co-edited with Ray Brandon. ISBN 978-199,945,580. Black Earth, The Holocaust as History and Warning, Penguin, 2015. On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, Penguin, 2017. On Tyranny, Graphic Edition, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, 10-Speed Press. The Road to Unfreedom, Russia, Europe, America, Penguin, 2018. Our Malady, Lessons in Liberty from a Hospital Diary, Penguin, 2020. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from my channel.